I often say that the truth is right in front of your face, that enlightenment is revealing itself to you all the time, that if you just see what's in front of your eyes, then all of it will take care of itself. When I say this, I understand that it's not going to necessarily be that immediate for everyone who listens to it that time. But there will be a recognition for some. And it's the kind of message that if you hear it enough times, you start to really appreciate what I'm pointing to. I'm pointing in a very direct way when I do this. I'm pointing past your thoughts. I'm pointing past your conceptualizations. I'm pointing past your stories. I'm pointing past the spiritual knowledge. I'm even pointing past any library of awakenings and experiences that you've collected. I'm really just pointing to truth unfiltered, reality undistorted by the processes of thought, conception, perceptual filtering. And as I always say, it is literally right in front of your face. I don't mean this figuratively. I mean, you're staring right into the abyss right now. You're staring into the unknown. Now, that may sound a little extreme or even scary to say or to hear, I'm standing nose to nose with the abyss. And it is, right? There's a part of us that doesn't want to see this, the part that wants to remain separate, the part that wants to be something, a conditioned something, something that remembers itself in time, that remembers its past, that imagines its future, that feels like it's in control. There's some mechanism operating that doesn't want to see that none of that's true. Because you're not a part, and you're not in a timeline. The sense of who and what you take yourself to be, the sense of you, is really the first stage of investigation. Because as long as that feels solid, rigid, very real, actually it's only rigid and feels very real because it hasn't been thoroughly examined. Once it's thoroughly examined, it won't. But strangely, because we don't examine it, what we examine are the objects of thought. We don't actually examine the thinker, the source of thought. But once we actually examine it, it won't feel so real. It won't feel so solid. It won't feel so, well, in one sense, dependable. It may sound like that's a lot to lose, but on the other side, it also won't feel constricted, isolated, suffering. It won't feel like it's never finding meaning or purpose to its own satisfaction. It won't feel like it's endlessly seeking something it'll never find. It won't feel constantly threatened, and it won't feel like a blanket of doubt, fear, anxiety, depression. So we do let go of the illusion of a separate self, a personal self. But we also let go of a heck of a lot of suffering that results in it. And that letting go, you might wonder, well, where is that? When is that? It's not in the future. It's happening right in front of your face. So there's a letting go that's already here. There's an unbinding that is intrinsic to experience, that's intrinsic to reality, that's intrinsic to sound, color, form, shape, sensation, movement, stillness. All these perceptions in their most basic forms can also be deconstructed. And once those are deconstructed, what's what will be staring you right in the face. It's so obvious. It's ridiculously obvious. It's comically obvious. And it's also free. I would say it's freeing, but at some point the one who needs freedom is not found anymore. So there's just freedom. There's just freedom. There's just that which is unbound, that which is unborn. And you see it everywhere. You can't not see it. And then you kind of fall in love with it. At first you might feel like, again, something's missing, right? When that inner world, that sense of the separate one, the separate self is just nowhere to be found. And even though the non-dual intimacy is realized, we're still struggling with it a little bit. We're still trying to pull away from it to maintain some inner world. That's uncomfortable. That's an uncomfortable transition. But once we stop trying to do that, once we stop trying to create the unreality then reality becomes enjoyable. Reality not meaning a set of rules or a described way of being or a map. I mean reality, right? It becomes very enjoyable, very lovable. So we enjoy leaning into the abyss. We enjoy being the abyss. We enjoy completely being completely surrendered. We enjoy not knowing. And of course, we enjoy the intimacy. We enjoy, to put it in a blunt way, not blunt, but imprecise way, we enjoy being already everything. We enjoy that there's nothing apart. So there's nothing that's not me. There's nothing that's not this. There's nothing that's distant. So you could say everything is intimate. All appearances are intimate. There's a beautiful quote by Dogen where he says, don't ask me where I'm going as I travel this limitless world where every step I take is home. Feels exactly like that. This limitless empty world. And yet every step is home. Every step is intimacy, the ultimate intimacy. So paradoxical, yes, empty, full, and so forth, but it's beyond distinctions. That's the key. So neither empty nor full, nor not empty nor not full, nor neither empty nor full, etc. It's just beyond designation, and that's not complicated. Logically, it ties up the mind and requires a bunch of words to try to deconstruct and so forth, but in direct experience, it's absolute simplicity. Total simplicity, total innocence, right in front of your face. You're staring at it right now. What you think you see is not what you see. What you think is real is not what's real. What you think is solid is not what's solid. What you think is an object is not an object. What you think is a body is not a body. What you think is mind is not mind. What you think is a distinction between real and unreal is not what you think it is. Essentially, distinctions don't exist. And yet we can recognize uniqueness somehow, but it's not because of any fundamental truth in distinction, because there isn't. Once you learn what this is, learn not through knowledge, but through surrender, through realization, you can't forget it. You don't want to forget it. You don't want to look away from it. Let me say it that way, because it's just so endlessly fascinating. But you also can't look away from it, which is hilarious. Close your eyes, open your eyes, it's still there.